The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Triversity Talk. I am Wendy Stewart, as you all know, and you are joining me on this wonderful Wednesday. It's Wednesday with Wendy. Maybe, you know what, maybe I should call it that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I know you could be anywhere tonight, but if you're here with me, I'm very grateful to have you here as well. Great news about our organization, Triversity, which many of you in the New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania area know a lot about. We had our first incredible board meeting to plan all sorts of wonderful new things in the future. I'd like to welcome our new board president. His name is Taylor James, and he's going to be doing a great job. We are here to serve you. You can find us on Facebook under Triversity, the Center for Pride, or we also have, you can check out the show, of course, on our YouTube channel. And we have a website, www.triversity.org. So I just have to vent about this. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but if you have, please put it in the comments tonight. I am going crazy because Facebook changed their algorithm again. Yes, it did. How dare they do that? And people are telling me I have to press my hand down and then hit the copy thing. And then I will be able to contact all the people that I've been contacting with, not all these new random people that I don't know why I'm even in touch with. So we all know I am not technically enhanced. Oh, I don't believe I said that, but you all get my drift on that. So if anyone has any tips as to how we can override this Facebook algorithm, please reach out and touch someone, namely me. So speaking of technical things, tonight's guest I first got to see at a wonderful show at Pangea called Nouveau Riche, which is once a month on Tuesday. It's usually the last Tuesday of the month, and it's produced by Kobe Cole. And there's so many great performers and just interesting people, not just singers or accompanists or we've got everything there. We've had comedians, spoken word, you name it. Kobe Cole has it at his show. And the person I have on tonight he was so interesting and so musically talented. He actually played the piano the night I met him, but I found out, he's a singer, he's a songwriter. His name is Jay, and he is quickly making a name for himself in rhythm and blues and the pop music scene. He ascends a fresh appeal in his own words, curating smooth vocals, addictive pop, melodies, soulful R&B, harmonies, and visceral grooves that dub to impel a much-needed respite from the overwhelming din of crypto soundscapery. I got to tell you, I love these words. I really do love the word soundscapery. I didn't even know it was a word, but J4 is going to explain all this to me and more. So without further ado, please welcome J4. Hello there.
Hi, Wendy. It's nice to see the last model standing.
It is. And I am glowing in your soundscapery tonight. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, we definitely will be. I have a special treat. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, I'm really thrilled to have you on here. And the special treat, which I'm not giving away yet, this is the first time we've ever done that. And you're lucky I'm a girl that likes to take risks in life, because I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so interesting. And he also knows what he's doing. So I am putting my total trust and faith in you when we get to our experiment.
Absolutely. We'll make it experiential,
It
actually.
might our experiential experiment. That's right. You got that right. So, I want to know. I don't know a lot about you except that you are so talented. It hurts. You really are. And then I'm reading that you have a classic background in ballet, jazz, classical ballet, modern dance. You've performed with the Dance Theater of Harlem. So, you know what? Let's just get right to it. Tell me where you're from and all that good stuff.
Wendy, have been living in New York City, a long time, probably like 15 years plus, but I'm from a small town in Maryland called Frederick. It's a
Oh,
colonial, historic, beautiful, diverse community. I
right.
grew up in the downtown area where all the fonts on all the historic buildings that the kind of department preserves actually, they all
Oh,
have
I love this stuff. I can't first of all, you're shocking me because you're like you're so not that, right?
I
Like,
know, right? Yeah. I
I
am that though. I am. I love that.
you
Yeah.
do love that. You read the plaques on the houses. I
Oh
love
yeah. Yeah, and it's all
that.
like ye old and then the
Yeah.
beautiful typography and stuff like that. I was a kid that grew up I'm raised by women entrepreneurs. My mom runs her restaurant with her wife called Two Soul Sisters
Oh
in
my god, I
Southern Maryland.
love
You
this
got to
already.
go. Yeah, it's beautiful. Elevated raw soul food, the best crab cake you will ever have.
Well,
It's
Maryland, my god, you've got stiff competition there. So
Not my mom, no competition there.
wow,
She's cut
wow.
above the rest, that one. And I feel like I'm of that. I've always been taught to just give my best no matter what it is. And I have a knack for music and I'm good with my hands and stuff like that. So I've always been kind of handy and crafty and I learned from my family to be really resourceful. So, I've been here for about 15 years because I just knew coming to dance camp and doing different performances here and getting to go on tour and do different musical theater performances and always writing plays and stuff like that as a kid.
So
I
yeah,
knew,
I was gonna say, like, as a kid, so, you have 2 moms growing up
yes, I
who
do.
completely supported everything you were about, which is how
Absolutely.
you evolved to who you are now.
Absolutely. Cultivated it, put it in a pot, cultured it, and now I'm this fabulous kombucha thing that I am now.
I love the kombucha thing. They must be I know they must, like, just be so proud of you too.
I think my mom has her moments of real pride, when it comes to me and, what she made. And that's my intention,
Right.
like
You were
I
proud.
yeah, I dance a little bit when I get that phrase. I'm like, where is it? Up there it is. When I give her the good news, I'm waiting for that. Oh, I'm proud of you. Then I'm like, there it is.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah, right.
Nailed
No,
it.
you know what? But you brought up something that's so I've never really had that. Like, I always felt my mother was always waiting for the other shoe to drop because she had been a model and an actress, and her life took a different turn. She had to take care of her mother, and then she took care of my father. So when I got into this, and I would tell her something really great, I never got that what you got back from your mom, and it's hard because you're kind of dancing to your own drum then. You don't know if what you're doing is right. You don't know if you're on the right path at all because we look to the female figures often in our
Absolutely.
lives to give
And we
us
should.
that
If you're not, you
enforcement.
should. Wendy, and it's interesting you bring that up because as you read my own words, you can tell that I'm pretty careful with my words. Even I try to think about them before, I'm even speaking them. And that was why I mentioned, yeah, she has her moments where she's really proud of me because those are the moments that I know. And and then there are some moments when I do feel maybe, and I mentioned I wait for that phrase. I'm waiting for that phrase because on some levels she's realistic. She's also pragmatic, and she also her emotions are invested in my success too. So
Absolutely, she
there
should.
is an element of waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't tell her every little moment of
Oh,
every
I would
step
hope you wouldn't.
to overwhelm her, but I definitely keep her updated and there's definitely a lot of support that comes from that side. And my younger sister too. I have a younger sister.
So there's
Um,
two of you.
yes, yeah,
Is
we're two,
she is
we're
she creative like you?
she actually is, and she has a son, my nephew Yuri. He's about 13 now. He's also really creative. My sister's a really talented musician as well.
This
Um,
is amazing.
she's
Where
yeah,
where did we think this came from?
My parents, it's all definitely, it's hereditary
It
indeed.
is, right?
Furthermore, I grew up Pentecostal Christian. So we grew up in a church in Christian denomination wise of, traditionally black folks together, being very exuberant, and there's a lot of fellowship involved, and we all got to sing together. So I got to sing with my cousins and play with my cousins and my uncles. My uncle played
Love
the
it.
bass, my sister played the drums, a continual rotation of drummers. Everyone loves percussion. But I always loved piano. You know why, Wendy? Wendy, the piano is the most rewarding of instruments. I always say you can play a trumpet or a saxophone, horn instruments until you're blue in the face. You can blow on these instruments and never get it to
Blow
sound
until
like
you're blue in the face. What makes
until you can blow on these instruments until
blowing,
you're
right?
blue in the face, and you can
Huh?
still never get it to sound like it's even supposed to sound, let alone get it to sound good or
I
play a
think as
note.
trumpet players, it must be going ballistic right now. You're
Yeah,
just
because it's
exhausted.
so it's yeah, because it's an amazing skill to be able to even handle the vibration and reverberation
Yeah,
that sort of passes through your body. You really have to have the skill to do that. So,
yeah,
it's not instantly rewarding. So that's something you really have to work at. Even stringed instruments, they're beautiful, but they're very melodic. You can't always keep percussion with stringed instruments. A drum, you can't keep melody with a drum. However, and it takes a lot of stamina to be able to play a drum well.
absolutely.
A piano, however, all you gotta do is hit a little key, strikes a hammer. You get percussion and you can keep melody
Oh,
with a
that's really
piano. You can
interesting.
keep rhythm and you can keep
Spoken
melody.
by
And
a
it's
true musician. Yeah,
it's
I never thought of
instantly
it that
rewarding. It's instantly rewarding. All you gotta do
way.
is reach out and touch it. So
Right.
this is something that always drew me to the piano. It's not that I'm like so hardworking, it's easy.
Well, were you a
It
kid
just
that had to take piano lessons? Like, what was your deal growing up with piano? Did your mother make you sit there and practice scales?
She definitely did. I had a
She did.
beautiful experience learning piano. It was something that I
Oh,
showed a knack for initially because my mom is also a keyboardist, and she really was an inspiration for me in my early precognitive years. I just remember her like kind of like maybe like getting ready at the house, and I always remember just in a vision of kind of like a flourish of, you know, floral fabrics for fragrance, and like maybe turning around to like shove something in my mouth really quick, just to like munch on before church, and then getting to church. And I just remember seeing her singing and playing as well. So this was something that really always called to me. And when I showed a knack for it, this is the point when I was put into piano lessons with Catherine Nicodemus in Walkersville, Maryland. I want to give her a shout out. I love
shout
her.
out
I love the
this was your
Nicodemuses.
amazing piano teacher?
She's amazing, yeah.
Right.
And John Nicodemus. I'm not sure if Catherine Nicodemus is still in Walkersville and still with us. However, at the time, it was the most amazing experience I could ever have. She would make like piano shaped cakes and stuff for our recitals.
Okay,
Um,
that's, like, brilliant. How could you not love somebody like that,
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh, and her house always smelled like, cinnamon candies because she made cinnamon candies all year
Yeah.
round, and
It's
she took me to her churches, and they were she's Catholic, so we those churches often have, pipe systems built in, so I
yeah,
did learn the pipe organ as well with her, and organs are great because, oftentimes the percussive elements and the bass elements to the organ are pedals. They're not actually.
and you know what? This is I know about this just from the few times I've been in, churches that have those organs. They're incredible, but the sound is made from a pedal.
Yeah, so it's like so you get bi-levels. Most of the time you see there's like one level up here that gives you your descant tones, which is like your high tones, and then you have your mid-level tones, which are like alto tones if you're singing. And
Right.
then what's
Mid-level.
actually beneath your feet is another set of white and black keys. It's actually on your feet, there's another set of white and black keys. The white ones are usually represented as just the pure wood, but you would actually move your feet across those to get to amplify further what
So
you're
in your
playing.
estimation, is it more difficult to play the organ than the piano?
It is more difficult because the
There's a
piano
lot
is
going on, right?
a lot going on, and the organ's very it's very melodic. It's a legato, so all the notes kind of stick together. With a piano, you can chop the notes up a little bit and make
Right.
it sound really cool. But with an organ, you really kind of have to have a preordained plan of action, I
It's a
would say.
preordained organistic plan of action. See, your word thing is really rubbing off on me, I have to tell you. You have me at some of those words that you came up with, the organistic aspect of playing the organ,
You
which
know,
is
and
great.
that comes from the militant style of dance, I would say. Everything is all processes. My experience with dance, I would say, led me to, and also the black women in my life. There's a militant sense of accountability and responsibility, and that all comes from organization and processes.
Okay, so let's go back to that because that's quite interesting. What do you mean by militaristic?
Well,
eh,
militant, not
approach?
so much militaristic, but militant. Militant as in unwavering. You want to have unwavering stamina with and attack your actions with conviction.
Yes,
You want to move with
yeah.
purpose. You want to move with purpose. You want to get up in the morning and have a nice routine and put your shoes on. Get ready for the day and be just as diligent about the rest too.
So we really came from a backbone upbringing, strong women, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and was there any room like within that for you to like be loosey goosey?
Well, it was a little tough sometimes being gay, being queer. I
Right.
think,
And from a
you know,
Pentecostal background, right?
definitely,
Exactly.
there's an element of, the beauty of, I think, kind of like organized, institutionalized religion and that way and spirituality, kind of institutionalizing spirituality. I think the benefit of that for a lot of people is forgiveness, is that they can be the wretch that they are, just
And
themselves, all
given,
long, and then come back on Sunday and be forgiven. And
right?
there's a lot of reverence in what that means for folks. My grandma, Claire Biggis, she's one of 17 herself. She had seven, and
Wow.
a set of twins. And my mom's the youngest. She raised all those children, with God. So there's a lot of reverence in the importance of this and the significance of forgiveness.
And within this big family, obviously you're somewhat out of the box, right? You're
Mhm.
gay, right? And
Mhm.
are there
Well,
any
queer, I
other
identify as queer now.
queer? Okay, so you identify as queer. Are there any other members of your family that identify as queer that would say that they do? I
My
should
mom, she blazed the trail for us all,
She did.
because she also came from the same upbringing, and,
Kudos to her because you know what? It's not that anything is easy, but easier for you than her because you're in a welcoming, much more welcoming, not 100% welcoming time. I
y
can't imagine how hard it must have been for your mother.
I think that was something that she really put her best to provide a duality for me because she knew how important it was for me to be around my family. And I mean, I got to learn on I got to select the piano once we were in a small church growing up and moved to a bigger church, and I got to go and select the grand piano that I basically learned on and
Amazing.
began to develop my talents and things with. And, my mom knew how important that was for me to be able to go and be with my family. But she also knew of, what pitfalls there could be and what challenges I could face there, with that feeling of, kind of like connectedness, with that feeling of forgiveness. And then it's like, oh, well, wait a minute. There's this side of me that, is not supposed to be here too. So it's, something that she knew was conflicting me. So she was really great at providing
Yeah,
a
you
duality.
don't know. I mean, I think you do know how lucky you were to have that person in your life. And I'll tell you something else. What you just said when you said that I didn't know you came from a Pentecostal background, and in I know a lot about a lot of religions, and I know that it's cool, it's heavy duty, but you took the good stuff from it.
I
You took
did.
I love that you took the joy from that
Absolutely.
background. That's
Absolutely.
that's unique that you recognize that background as a gift. You took the good things. So, you
And
know,
I
good.
would say the churches that we were involved with and my own church that I grew up going to, there was a lot of fellowship with other churches. I would say, organized religion as an institution oftentimes can do a lot of good for the community.
Right,
There's no success unless there's community impact. And I
right.
think that, and I've also carried that with me too. We
Yeah,
used to go and sing in nursing homes and, pick
God
up all the
bless.
little children and, all the on our little bus and everything. It was a beautiful experience. And
And are you familiar with in the Episcopal Church now reconciling ministries?
No, what's that?
Well, so this is great. This is one of the things I love about doing this show. I wasn't either. And my former co-host who's part of the church, and his husband, I've really gotten to know what that is. Those are Episcopal churches that have opened their doors to everybody,
Mhm.
LGBTQ plus. All right.
Mhm.
Everybody is welcome and
Mhm.
everybody is supported. And, with what you just said, that there is a place for organized religion, for many people, there was no place to go for that and they needed it. So I think what the Episcopal Church is doing, in the ones that are doing reconciling ministries, I think that's such a wonderful thing for people.
I
And
I mean,
yeah,
if anything, it's intelligent positioning
right.
because of the way that, trends and human behavior changes. If you
Yeah.
look at what's popular now and, you know, nature leads toward unity. And
Oh, I
if
like
there's
that.
and whatever is on the margins of that is definitely going to become fringe, and then it will disappear. So, if anything, it's a smart, business position to like go with the flow, Christians.
But my God, I talk to you and I think like 5 sayings on T-shirts.
Yeah,
You and I could make a fortune. We'll just like market these T-shirts during Pride. Everybody will want them. So
you're a marketing genius. I would love to go into business with you, honey.
you know what? I am just out of the box. I wouldn't call myself a market. I'm so out of the box. I think in free fall. So I am so excited to talk to you about the Dance Theater of Harlem. That's really quite impressive. What was involved with auditioning and getting in there?
It was on a string of auditions that I came from a smaller kind of group of dance kind of boutique um, dance studios in my local area. Then that grew into a regional kind of representation when we started competing and I started seeing other troops. Me and my mom started seeing other troops at different recitals and different competitions and being and networking and just saying come check him out, and before you knew it I was auditioning for these other troops and things, and I was getting seen by the right people,
Yeah,
and I secured several kind of good auditions, and the Dance Theater of Harlem was one of them. My mom was looking out for because they shout out to the Dance Theater of Harlem for coming to Suitland, Maryland, to DC, and this was a beautiful gateway for me to be able to you know get in there and up my up my game, get my
yeah,
strength up. I was so much smaller than so many of the boys that were just generally, I'm a kind of a late bloomer.
okay.
So, and even after puberty, even after like puberty at 13, 14, I was still like a slender kid. And all those boys were quads, like 40-inch circumference, and
That's interesting to me because was that a body type that this is what I've learned about dance companies. They look certain dance companies look for certain body types. Was that a body type that you would say really ruled in the Dance Theater of Harlem, or they were open to seeing other bodies?
well, when it comes to female dancers, I would say the women definitely have a tougher time when it comes to the selection of the dancers. Ability is something that really is a big selector when it comes to casting males as dancers, though.
Ability.
And
Wow.
ability, and if you have the ability to jump and do a double and triple
Yeah, is that
towards
like a
towards
stadium? What do we call it? A Lutz?
well tourgette. That's a
Wait,
tourgette.
say it for me again.
Tourgette.
Oh, you said
Oh,
it's so French. Tourgette.
tour tourgette. Oui,
Jeté.
oui, très bien. So
Okay.
it's so that if you can jump in the air and do a double or a triple tourgette, then you have the ability to do that as a male, then you have the muscle strength,
Yeah,
and
you
that's going to be evident in your muscular
are you
build.
also judged by how high you can get off the ground as well?
I don't know that it's so much how high you can get off the ground. It's if you can get high enough to execute the choreography, then and do it with style, because sometimes,
Of
and it's
course.
all, and with that same comment about the ability is going to be evident in the actual physicality. um it's just going to be there. It doesn't really matter how high you can jump, because if you have the ability to
Right, the
execute
strength.
any of those moves, that means you can jump very high because it's not about jumping very, you know, moving, spinning very quickly because you can only control how fast you
Right.
spin, so much. It's about how high you can jump to stay in the air that long, to spin
Amazing.
enough. So, if you can, sometimes it's not about jumping very high. Sometimes it's about the ability to jump just high enough to get off the ground to make that
Jeté.
straddle.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's another move. There's called a jeté. It's a side jeté, and then sometimes it's about just getting off the ground or glissade, getting off the ground just enough to make that side jeté look nice. It's not about jumping up high because maybe you have another move to get to afterward.
Ah,
You
well,
know,
see, you just gave me a little lesson in classical
You
ballet.
know what, Wendy? It's all about how fast you can pick up the choreography and how humanly you can express
I
it after picking it up. That's
So
what it's about.
you have a knack for that then? It's not only dance, you have to be able to, like, boom, boom, boom. Were you able to do that?
At some point, well, after getting to the Dance Theater of Harlem, at that point, I have been able to all the failed auditions prior to that, I learned to pick up choreography very
The
quickly. And then
failed
from
auditions, that's really interesting because here Dance Theater of Harlem is like, to me, the crème de la crème is incredible. And prior to that, the failed auditions, how did you deal with that? How does one deal with that to keep going to audition for the Dance Theater of Harlem? Because you had failed before that.
Well, it wasn't for when I got there, my first audition, I nailed it, for them
Oh,
prior, but auditions prior for, opportunities that
yeah.
I hadn't obtained that really were just leading me to a certain end, maybe something that I auditioned for that maybe I would have gotten it and something else wouldn't have been available for me.
Right.
However, so like for other things, I would say, it's really just about having perseverance and being able to work through adversity, growing up and being born of the struggle,
Yeah.
being born ebony skinned, where even in an industry that I currently work in, I'm active in, there's the brown paper bag rule. So growing up ebony skinned was something that I had to learn to really love myself and be happy in my skin and build myself from the inside out and surround myself with things and with individuals that cultivate and help that beauty flourish and preserve it, you know. So that's really what it's all about is keeping the beauty, that you have within and
That
recognizing that it's
that's
there.
that's hard, and you just as you said, ebony skinned and keeping that when you're growing up. It's interesting because I grew up in New York, and let's just say it's just a much more forgiving place. Like, you have friends of all different skin colors, nationalities here,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and you wouldn't describe someone that, was working with me would describe people as dark-skinned or light-skinned, or she had, as if there was a range of color within black, was not anything I would and I said to her, "Why do you describe" she was black, I'm like, "Why do you describe people that way? What on a spectrum like that?" Like, I would never, call myself, like, very light or very medium toned or pink toned or any of those things, but what she said to me was within her world, that's how people described each other, and that was an eye opener.
yes, because there's the existence of colorism, all
Right.
the tools of white male patriarchal supremacy need to
Absolutely.
exist.
Yeah.
The ideologies need to exist within the community so that the suppressor does not exist anymore, that the ideology can survive. And because there are so many mixed races of Black individuals,
Yeah.
sometimes it is, and we're all mixed up. We're all mixed up, you know.
Y
So sometimes there is. It can sometimes that those terms can be used in a benign way, and sometimes they are used with malignance. Um,
Absolutely,
you
and
know,
to her, you know
and that's all internalized. But however, that's if that's used with malignance,
absolutely.
that's internalized. So, but you can't blame the oppressed. We love them through it,
You
and
just
that's why we make music. That's why we sing.
thank you for saying that because music is connecting, music is healing, music is emotional, music is a release. Now, I've been talking with you so much. I want to tell everybody. So J4 has this experiment tonight. Can you explain to us what we're going to do so that we can hear your music?
Okay. So in any case, any music of mine you can hear Through the gateway would be through my Instagram. It's Actual Panther, like the word actual, and then Panther, like it's a real panther right in life. Actual Panther on Instagram. Everything that's a gateway through everything there. You can always reach out to me at payj4@gmail if you want anything specific. But tonight I'm going to do a live casted performance
I
for
love
you,
this.
which
I love
means that
this.
I'm going to go ahead and like share an audio share screen, and that track's going to play, and I'm all queued up in here, and I'm actually going to put some really fun effects on my actual vocals because I have an amazing vocal processor here that allows me to give myself echoes and stuff like that, and
This is so great.
so then I'll be able to give you a really nice kind of in-depth
We've
performance.
never done this on this show. I'm very excited. This is so cool.
I'm so pleased that you were that this has been anything that has pleased you.
Oh,
I'm
oh yeah.
excited too.
I mean, you had me at soundscaping. You had me at that word. You had me in the palm of your hand. Okay, let's do it. All right,
Okay. Oh, yay. Nice. Nice. Okay. Let's do it.
let's do it.
Okay. Excellent. So I have these settings here. And what I'm going to do now is just go ahead. Share my screen. Give me one moment here.
Okay, and I think my producer Juan needs to be on this too. Here we go.
Okay. We ready?
I think we are.
Time after time, giving all behind silver light. Hearts will find your eyes and no history, and nothing to hide. Verify authenticity. Charge into the future, starlit pathway, overnight and ahead. Charge into the spotlight, deepest emotion, displayed on the page. Displayed on a page, yeah. All passionate heart, enjoy the ride, wide-eyed satisfaction, guaranteed. Into the future, starlit pathway, overnight and ahead. Charge into the spotlight, deepest emotion, displayed on the page. Displayed on a page, yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. amazing. Amazing. Oh my God. That was okay. That was so incredible. First of all, you're the first person to ever have done that. Second of all, if I close my eyes, it was like three people singing.
Love it. Well,
You have your range. I mean, Mariah Carey ain't got nothing on you. What did they say about her with her high? Her what did they call it? You would know the terminology.
oh, the whistle tones, don't you come from Mariah. I don't want Mariah's fans. Whoever's watching this, if you love Mariah,
But how do you
I
do?
love
You're it's your range. I mean, you can go high, high, and low, low, and that's a gift. I'm sorry. That's
you.
incredible. Really incredible.
You know, Wendy, it's taken me a long time to get here. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a lot of lessons and a lot of practice and a lot of not giving up.
But
And a lot of
are you going to tell me though when you started, your voice was like at one range? What would you call it? Like, tell me where you were. I do understand like bass and tenor
mm,
and all of that. Where were you when you started?
I would say like I'm a proper like baritone tenor, but I have, an unlimited range, more or less, I would say, for me.
Your
Um,
range is unlimited. How do they do that with someone? Like, what do you have to do to get your voice to? It's like a rubber band, Jay.
you
A
just
rubber band.
nailed it. Just nailed it. This
Yeah.
is the thing. Um, Lorraine Nelson, the wife of Godfrey Nelson, upstate Hudson, New York. I want to give Lorraine Nelson a shout out. I love you, Lorraine. Thank you so much for everything. Has helped me get to this place. And the way that she described it is almost exactly like you did. But I think she used the word donut. Everybody thinks that you more or less when you think your vocal cords, it's like little strings back there, and it kind of
Yeah.
feels like that sometimes. Because you see a uvula, and it kind of just transmits that image almost. But really, it's the glottal, and the glottal actually is a little band back here, and passing air through it and how much it's dilated or not dilated just depends on how the actual voice sounds. So if you do this, and if you really do that Kermit the Frog voice kind of thing, you're kind of doing the thing right. And if you do this, no matter how much air you pass through, you can actually, you know, get whatever tone you need out of it. And then you
Well,
can
that's
also,
incredible. This is really incredible technique to learn how to pass air through that area to change. I'm really learning something, and it's really interesting to me.
you want to learn
Um,
about your body, to get, and then once you feel it, and then there's an element of using your mouth as the proper acoustic to push the sound through. So you've got to drop your jaw so that the sound comes through when you get to the higher register properly. Because if it's open a
wow.
little too wide, then the sound waves are escaping too much. So you want to be, and then there's proper mic technique too, and then there's also the technique of making certain that the levels and everything are matched up prior. And then because I love you, Indy, I did program a nice backing track and everything so that
You
it all
did
sounded
because you wanted it to be perfect.
just my
Thank
mama's
you.
boy.
That that was no, but that was really, really sensational. I've never had anyone do that. And to be able to hear you in such a way and separate you, I separated your voice when you were singing the tones and everything. Really, thank you. That was quite incredible. And not even at
Wendy.
the piano this time. Wow.
Um, I would show you, but I actually am sitting at the piano.
But
In
you
my
weren't making piano
no,
noises. No.
no.
No, this is all. So, my God, so is your new album like a breakthrough for you? Would you consider that a breakthrough?
Talk is a huge breakthrough for me. I'm very grateful for everything that has occurred between now and the time that I wrote that song. It's been just a beautiful journey. It's the song. It's called Slick Talk. The lyrics are basically about um, pushing through and breaking doors down
Yeah.
and recognizing that your purpose is calling for you and walking into reality because that's where the opportunity lives and so on you know and I just hope my music reaches somebody like me, somebody like me that maybe didn't have my mom, or didn't have whatever opportunities that I've had, and just needs to
There's
know that
lots
they're
of
not.
kids out there like that, and I agree with you, through music, we can really use it to reach people, to offer, inspiration and comfort, healing, all of those things,
Yep.
and, somebody like you being able to do I mean, it's just absolutely sensational. What keeps you going?
Um, I would say my will to live. I love life. I love living. I love that. Um, I I I know that I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
You could have been born anything. I could have been born a fish. You
I
know.
I say it all the time, and I sometimes I think about it because I do believe we come back, and I wanna believe that, like, I'm coming back as a person, but what if that doesn't happen? Like, I look at my fish and I think, everything I look at him and he's there
Yeah,
like that in the
it
same.
must be nice.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what he thinks about though all day, and he rearranges like the fake plants in his tank. He does do that. That's amazing to me. That I wake up in the morning and the plants are all different because he's been redecorating during the night. But what if we do come back as a fish?
Well,
I
you
mean,
know, well, to that point, there's a lot we don't know about socialization of like fish and stuff like that, but
no, right, we don't.
we're learning a lot about octopi and different cephalopods, and octopi are so
Oh,
completely
now okay, so
smart.
now you're on the tangent train with Wendy.
I
Yes,
know,
I know a
yeah,
lot
I
about
know.
octopi.
Okay,
Of
yeah,
course I
right.
do. They're so highly intelligent, and then
So
of course.
your fish doing interior decorating might just be that.
God, maybe I should have given my living room and say, "Just go for it, honey. Let's just see what you can do with this."
Well, but so what makes me going? My will to live. I love life. It's a gift, and I think
Yeah,
that
it is.
and to quote Aretha, it's the responsibility is to broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going. Did I do something? What have I accomplished? And I have the wherewithal. You have to also take inventory. You have to take inventory. What you
Oh, I
got?
love that,
What are you
taking
working with?
inventory.
What are you
Yeah,
working with? What have you got? What does your brother not have? What does the next person not have?
right.
A lot of times when something that keeps me going, when I, feel like I can't go anymore, I have my moments, is
We all
focus
do.
on others. Focus on
Yeah.
others. Who else hasn't got then? Okay, well, what do you have that you can give? Up, there's not. Then it seems like you got a lot. Seems like you got a reason to keep going, bro.
Well, that is a good way to look at it because when you do look at people, the wake up call, like, we bitch, we moan, we go on auditions, we get rejected, we do whatever we do. And then, like, something will come on my phone about what's going on in the Ukraine. And I'm like, I have no right to complain about anything. I mean, their lives are turned inside out and upside down. My biggest challenge in New York, which I bitch about all the time, is the subways. I'm on them constantly. That is how I get to bookings, to auditions, to every single thing I do. And it's pretty horrific. But when you
It's
can,
Hunger Games.
huh?
It's Hunger Games.
It's Hunger Games. It is. No, you're
It's
right. It
it's
is. It's the
literal.
Hunger Games. I'm going to be saying
It's
that to myself when I'm on the platform
it's
tomorrow.
literal Katniss and all the guys with all the swords and weapons and everything. It's like
Oh,
it's a
let me tell
nightmare.
you,
It
it
needs to stop.
it is. So you've been up in New York for 15 years. Said goodbye to that great little town you grew up in with the plaques
Mhm,
on the houses, which I really do love. And you came here.
mhm.
Did you immediately feel like this is my place? I'm totally accepted.
I knew it. I already knew it just from visiting here to come to dance camp to from visiting here from I went to hair school right after high school. Paul Mitchell, and shout out to Paul Mitchell Hair School, the Temple School in Frederick, Maryland. I
Of
love y'all.
course, I know Paul
Um,
Mitchell. So I didn't even know you. So you went to hair school. Wow.
Yeah, I actually work in beauty experiential. I'm a beauty professional, as in my day-to-day life. It's a wonderful thing because I love women, I love people, and I
Right.
love beauty. And I love and it helps. It's a tool to spread the message of
I
self-acceptance,
agree.
love. Love life, and I just knew I needed to be here. I and I got in with the nightlife people, um, and they told me all the stories. I got to I got to relive, Twilo and Save the Robots and Club USA
Okay, hold on.
and
I'm stopping you right there. Been to Twilo, been to Save the Robots, Crisco Disco. The Paradise Garage,
Paradise
which
Garage. Oh,
would have loved.
I got to, I got to really, I am what my community has made me. I have my family, I have a
Yeah,
big family home, and I have a big family here in New York City.
yeah,
Shout out to my producer, Brandon Deluxe, for producing Slick Talk, and he produced the track you just heard, Keep Up.
beautiful.
He does all my vocal tracking. He's a beautiful man. He's on Instagram. It's Brandon Deluxe, just DLUX. Um, and also Max Coburn, of LaGuardia High School. Brilliant young man.
So
He
you
is
wait, I didn't know that you went to LaGuardia.
no, my I have an additional producer, Maxo
Who
Coburn.
okay.
I'm shouting out. He also
Love
helps with
LaGuardia High
production.
School.
Brilliant children come from LaGuardia, and you got to be something to get in there. You got to
Yeah,
work. It puts
exactly.
you in
I
this.
I do know it well. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Um,
Oh, this has been, like, so mind opening for me because you know what? You see someone behind a piano at a wonderful show and they're interesting to you, but you don't know anything more about them other than you can't wait to interview them. We're down to your last 2 minutes. What do you want to tell people?
I also want to give a shout out to my production team
Yes.
for visuals. I want to give a shout out to Matthew Chavez. I love you so much. I want to give a shout out to my cousin Ira, who helped put Slick Talk together, the video. I want to give a shout out to my friend Jael Barnatan. She's fantastic and she loaned clothes. I want to give a shout out to Etro in Paris. Y'all are fantastic. Thanks for giving me some clothes for the video too. And I also want to give a shout out to Pixel Mozart. For doing the final edit, and Lucas for doing the initial edit, and just look out for Slick Talk. Check my Instagram out, Actual Panther. If you have any questions, definitely let me know.
When is the actual video going to launch?
So I'm going to launch my newsletter site on June 1. And at
Okay,
that
so
point, you'll be able to see a lot of the media assets that are going to
okay,
that are going to come with the video. I don't have a launch date for the video yet
okay.
because I don't like telling people all my stuff.
No, it's cool.
No, I'm kidding. No, I love that. No, I'm just.
And I'm going to be out there rooting for you and telling people, hey, you got to
But just
listen.
know this, it's ahead of schedule.
Oh, well, it's good that some things in life are. My God, that is just terrific. And once again, how can people reach you?
Reach me at Actual Panther on
Actual
Instagram.
Panther on
Actual
Instagram.
Panther. Yeah, and I'm also on TikTok as Gorgeous Guy with 2 Y's at the end.
Love it.
So hit me
It's
up.
so hard to find people because no one's under their regular name. I
Oh,
always
I
like
know.
to take a picture of my guest on the show. Smile. Let's do one more. Great.
Put my
Um,
logo.
you have just been terrific. When can I hear you play live again?
So come see me at I think we have the show Nouveau Riche next Tuesday, right? So
Are we at the end of the month?
I
No,
thought it was second Tuesday.
it's next
It's
Tuesday.
next Tuesday, yeah. So come next Tuesday. Everybody come out to Pangea next Tuesday and see me do that thing I just did live with less clothes because it's a
And
cabaret.
I can
It's a
guarantee you it's going to be fierce. I can't wait.
You're gonna be there. You're one of my
Yes,
favorite.
I totally am. It's on the calendar. I can't even read my calendar anymore. It's so stuffed with things.
Of
It's insane. But yes,
course.
I will totally be there. Thank you so much, J4, for coming on the show.
It's my
Everybody,
pleasure.
thank you for tuning in tonight. Be well, be safe, and tomorrow's another day. Good night, everybody.
Loves. Thanks for the love.